There comes a moment, not a loud one, not dramatic. It's quiet. You're standing in the same room, hearing the same excuses, feeling that same tight knot in your stomach, and something shifts. It's not a breakdown, it's not an explosion, it's a decision. You don't even realize it fully at first, but in that moment, something deep inside of you clicks. You've had enough. This is what people call the breaking point, but that's not what it really is. It's not you breaking. It's you waking up. It's your soul finally standing up inside of you and saying, I'm done participating in my own suffering. Now listen, reaching that point doesn't mean you suddenly have it all figured out. It doesn't mean the pain stops immediately. It doesn't mean you don't still feel guilty, scared, or confused. It just means this: something inside you has refused to keep shrinking just to survive someone else's chaos. You've been trained to doubt yourself. You've been taught to explain things away, to keep the peace, to be the bigger person, over and over and over. But that breaking point, that's your body saying, no more pretending. It's your intuition grabbing the wheel and refusing to let fear keep driving. And here's the truth no one talks about. Walking away doesn't feel like strength in the moment. It feels like grief. It feels like failure, like giving up. Because you poured your love into something that was never designed to hold it. You believed the best in someone who didn't even believe in basic respect. But choosing yourself is never failure. It's clarity. This is the beginning of boundaries, of freedom, of a self-worth that isn't up for negotiation. You don't need to hate the person. You don't need to understand every twisted thing they said or did. You don't even need to say anything at all. You just need to take that one brave, shaky step away, and then another, and then another. It's terrifying, I know. You're letting go of the fantasy, of the hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll finally see you, finally treat you the way you deserve. But that version of hope is a trap. The real hope, the powerful, life-giving kind, is what rises when you realize you are the one you've been waiting for. You are the hero in the story. You're the one who saves yourself. And here's what will happen next. You'll start to breathe again. At first, it'll feel foreign, like you're doing something wrong. But then, one morning, you'll wake up and realize you didn't feel panic in your chest. One day, the silence will stop feeling scary and start feeling peaceful. One day, you'll laugh and mean it. You'll look back, not with bitterness, but with gratitude that you finally listened to yourself. This moment, this break, is sacred. It's the beginning of your real life, the one where you don't apologize for having needs, the one where your empathy is a gift, not a target, the one where your voice is not only heard, but honored, not by them, by you. And if no one else says it, I will. I'm proud of you. Not for walking away, but for finally walking toward yourself. Chaos is confusing by design. It keeps you spinning, second-guessing, questioning your memory, your worth, your gut. It turns truth into fog and keeps you in survival mode, constantly adjusting yourself, explaining yourself, defending yourself. When you're in it, the noise is deafening. But here's the secret. That mess you're in, that emotional whirlwind, it holds the very clarity you're looking for. You don't find truth in calm moments. You find it when everything is on fire and you're the only one standing there holding a bucket of water, wondering why you're the only one trying to fix it. Again, that repeated cycle of confusion, that gut deep feeling of something is off, isn't something to dismiss. It's your internal compass screaming. It's your body knowing before your brain can catch up. When every conversation feels like a trap, when you're constantly walking on eggshells, when your reality keeps getting rewritten, that is clarity disguised as chaos. Because clarity isn't always pretty. It doesn't always show up with a sign. Sometimes it shows up as exhaustion, as anxiety, as burnout, as the moment you stop making excuses for behavior that never changes. And let's be honest, you tried. You gave chances, and then more chances. You rationalized. You read the books. You bent until you barely recognized yourself. But clarity doesn't come from trying harder to be understood by someone who never intended to hear you. It comes the second you stop gaslighting yourself. Because that's what happens, isn't it? You start to think, maybe I'm the problem. You wonder if you're being too sensitive, too emotional, too demanding. You shrink yourself to fit their comfort while your own needs get pushed down further and further. But inside the storm is where you finally realize, this isn't love. This isn't connection. This is control. And your body knows it before your mind allows you to say it out loud. The truth is, the chaos is meant to distract you from your own strength. It's a smokescreen. Because the moment you see clearly, the game is over. And that's the moment everything starts to shift. You don't get clarity by asking them for honesty. You get clarity when you stop needing their version of the story to validate your experience. You don't need their permission to trust your pain. Your feelings are the evidence. Your instincts are the map. The sleepless nights, the pit in your stomach, that isn't dysfunction. You're not broken. That's your wisdom knocking. And here's what happens next. You start to remember who you were before the confusion, before you were taught to doubt yourself, before your empathy was weaponized against you. You stop fighting for peace inside a war zone, and you start choosing environments where peace is normal. Not a prize you have to earn. Clarity comes when you realize that your value isn't up for negotiation, that loving someone doesn't require losing yourself, that you can walk away confused and still be right. You don't need every answer. You don't need a full analysis. What you need is one powerful truth. This isn't sustainable, and you deserve something better. That alone is enough to take the first step out of the storm. And you know what's on the other side of that step? Silence. Calm, not the eerie silence you feared, but the kind that lets you breathe again. That kind that says you made it, you got clear, you got free, and now you can finally start living with your eyes and your heart wide open. Let's get one thing straight. Closure is a myth. It's this shiny, soothing idea we cling to because we want the pain to make sense. We want them to explain, to apologize, to own what they did and maybe even admit they were wrong. But the truth, most of the people who break you don't give you closure. They give you silence, excuses, more confusion, and if you wait around for them to fix what they shattered, you'll waste years in emotional limbo. What you actually need isn't closure. What you need is courage. Courage to leave the conversation unfinished. Courage to walk away when you still have questions. Courage to say, I deserve better, even when you don't have all the answers yet. Because real healing doesn't come from what they say, it comes from what you decide. You don't need their words to validate your pain. You lived it. You felt the coldness. You heard the lies between the lines. You saw the patterns. That's enough. That's your truth. And that truth, it doesn't need their signature to be real. Closure implies cooperation. Like they're going to meet you in the middle, be honest, and help you make sense of the chaos. But if they were capable of that kind of clarity, you wouldn't have been hurt like this in the first place. Waiting for closure is just one more way of postponing the healing that only you can initiate. And look, I get it. Walking away with loose ends feels impossible. You want peace. You want answers. But let me ask you something. How many times have you tried to get it? How many texts have you reread, looking for some deeper meaning? How many imaginary arguments have you had in your head where you finally get to say what you needed to say? And did any of that bring peace, or did it just pull you deeper into the pain? Peace doesn't come from understanding them. Peace comes from understanding yourself. From knowing that staying in confusion isn't noble. That your worth isn't found in how long you're willing to suffer. That sometimes Walking away without resolution is the most powerful resolution of all. It takes courage to accept that you may never get what you wanted from them, that the apology might never come, that the truth might stay buried. And it takes even more courage to say, I'm still moving on. I'm still choosing myself. I'm still going to build something beautiful from this wreckage. Because courage is what turns heartbreak into healing. It's the fire that says, I'm not chasing clarity from someone who never gave me honesty. It's what lets you grieve what you lost without reopening the wound every time you wonder why it happened. And here's what's real. The courage to walk away without closure builds something stronger than any explanation ever could. It builds self-trust. It teaches you that you can survive not knowing, that you can live without their version of the story, that your peace doesn't require their permission. You don't need to make sense of everything to start over. You just need to choose you. Again and again and again. Even when it hurts, even when it's messy, even when you're afraid. That's what courage looks like. It's not loud. It's not perfect. It's that quiet decision to say, I'm done waiting. I'm done begging. I'm done needing them to close a door I'm already walking through. And that step, that's the one that changes everything. You've been through hell, maybe not the kind people can see, but the kind that eats you from the inside. The kind where you smile in public and collapse in private. And now, even though you've walked away, even though the damage is done, you're carrying the one thing they didn't have to lift a finger to create: self-blame. You beat yourself up. You ask, why didn't I leave sooner? You replay every red flag you ignored and every conversation where you silence your needs just to keep the peace. But here's the truth that will change everything. None of that is helping you heal. It's only keeping you trapped. And the only thing powerful enough to break that cycle is radical self-compassion. Not the soft, surface-level kind, not bubble baths and hashtags. I'm talking about warrior-level self-compassion, the kind where you look yourself in the eye and say, I forgive you for all of it. It's easy to be kind to yourself when things are going well, but real self-compassion shows up when you're raw, when you're in the middle of the shame spiral, when you feel foolish, when the voice in your head says, you let them do this to you. That's when you need to fight back with something stronger than blame. You need to meet that pain with truth. Because here's what's real. You didn't stay because you were weak. You stayed because you cared. You believed. You had hope. You saw the best in someone who showed you the worst. That's not a flaw. That's love. That's loyalty. That's your heart in motion. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. But now it's time to aim that same energy inward. The love, the belief, the loyalty. You gave it so freely to them. Now it belongs to you. Every time that critical voice shows up telling you what you should have done differently, talk back. Say, I was doing my best with what I knew at the time. That's not an excuse. That's a fact. And don't you dare minimize what you went through. People love to say, it wasn't that bad, or others have it worse. No, pain isn't a competition. Your story matters. Your scars are valid. What happened to you was real, and minimizing it just delays your recovery. So stop it. Stop apologizing for your own healing. Stop judging yourself for not being over it yet. Healing doesn't come from pretending. It comes from presence, from sitting in the discomfort and offering yourself the one thing no one else did, full, fierce compassion. Because here's what most people don't understand. Self-compassion doesn't make you weaker. It makes you unstoppable. It's the fuel that turns guilt into growth. It's what lets you own your story without drowning in it. It's what gives you the strength to say, yeah, I went through that, and I'm still here, and I'm rising. You want to change your life? Start with how you talk to yourself, not just when you're proud, but when you're at your lowest. When you feel broken, that's the moment that matters. That's where power is born. Radical self-compassion is not about avoiding accountability. It's about reclaiming control. It's the decision to stop tearing yourself down for the past and start building something better from it. So be kind, fiercely kind, not because you've earned it, but because you need it. Because you're human, because you survived something that should have broken you, and that deserves your deepest respect. This isn't weakness. This is the work, and it's the work that sets you free. There comes a time when protecting your peace isn't just a nice idea. It's survival. It's not about being polite anymore. It's not about keeping the family happy or avoiding awkward conversations or being nice. It's about defending your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. You spent so long giving people the benefit of the doubt, making excuses for behavior that chipped away at your soul. You tolerated tension, manipulation, guilt trips, and constant chaos, telling yourself this is just how they are. But here's what you finally need to hear. That chaos was never normal. It was never healthy. And every time you made room for it, you abandoned a little piece of your own peace. Well, no more. Not now. You've seen too much. You've felt the cost. And the only way forward is to become ruthless, not cruel, not cold, but clear. Clear about what gets access to your energy. Clear about who's allowed to speak into your life. Clear about what peace actually feels like and how far you'll go to protect it. You need to guard your peace like a pit bull. Loyal, fierce, unshakable, not because you want to fight, but because you finally know what you're worth. You finally realize that inner peace is your power, and anything that threatens it, anyone, doesn't get a free pass anymore. And let me be honest with you, people won't like it. The moment you stop people-pleasing, the moment you say no without explaining, the moment you stop answering the late-night guilt texts and the drama-soaked phone calls, they'll say you've changed. Good. That's the point. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be free. Setting boundaries is going to feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been the peacemaker your whole life. You'll feel selfish. You'll feel guilty. That's normal. But that guilt, it's just the echo of your old programming. It's not truth. The truth is this: your peace is sacred. Your nervous system isn't a dumping ground. Your home isn't a war zone. Your heart isn't a punching bag. Not anymore. Protecting your peace means you don't show up to every argument you're invited to. It means you stop chasing closure from people who benefit from keeping you confused. Moment. It means you stop proving your worth and start living like you already have it. It's in the little things too. Turning your phone off, leaving the group chat, saying, I'm not available for that energy. It's choosing silence over chaos, stillness over performance, peace over pleasing. And if someone calls you difficult or cold because of it, let them. You're not here to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. You're here to create a life that feels like a safe place to land. For you, not for their comfort, not for their ego, for you. You don't need to yell to be powerful. You don't need to explain to be justified. You don't need to argue to be right. You just need to protect what you've fought so hard to reclaim. Your peace, your mind, your life. So hold that line. Build the wall, not to keep love out, but to keep your sanity in. The right people won't make you sacrifice your peace to stay connected. The wrong ones will guilt you for choosing it. Let that be your filter. Protect your peace like a pit bull. Because once you do, you'll finally understand it was never about them. It was always about coming home to you. They hurt you. Maybe they didn't leave bruises, but they left you questioning your worth. They made you feel small, replaceable, like your love, your effort, your loyalty, all of it meant nothing. And maybe part of you wants them to feel the same pain, to realize what they lost, to watch you win and regret every time they underestimated you. But let's get something straight. You don't owe them your pain. You don't owe them your energy, and you damn sure don't owe them space in your future. The best revenge? It's not proving them wrong. It's living so right, so fully, so unapologetically, you don't even look back. Revenge isn't screaming, "Look at me now." It's building a life that's so aligned, they couldn't reach you even if they tried. It's peace that doesn't include their name. Joy that doesn't require their approval. Success that comes from being whole, not proving a point. Because when you're still trying to make them see, you're still tethered to them, still giving them power. And you didn't come this far to stay stuck in that story. You came to rewrite it. So don't post the indirect quotes. Don't craft your healing into a performance. That's not where the real freedom is. The real flex is silence, growth, moving on with so much grace it's confusing. The real win is waking up one day and realizing you haven't thought about them in weeks. And your smile? It's real. This doesn't mean the pain didn't matter. It means you matter more. It means you're choosing to redirect your energy from resentment to rebuilding, from looking back to moving forward. Because bitterness is a cage, and every time you replay what happened, you stay in it. But when you choose to live, really live, you walk out the door and never look back. Start showing up for yourself the way you used to show up for them. Go do the things they said you were too much for or not enough for. Make the bold moves. Take the big risks. Laugh without checking if someone's judging. Love again. When you're ready, not to replace what was, but to expand into what's possible. This is about you, not them. It's about building a life so rooted in your truth, you stop needing revenge because you're too busy rising, too full of purpose, too damn peaceful to care if they are watching. Let them stay where they are, circling the same patterns, recycling the same drama, trying to fill the emptiness you've already faced, and